What are you, when you look at the economy, what are the elements or what are the aspects of the economy that you think are showing an improvement, which is giving you some indication that things are turning around? I'll ask you what worries you after that, but first to get a sense from you of what is looking good to you, what's picking up.
I think really, if I look at the economy, it's really two parts. First is businesses in the organized sector which have access to capital markets. Those businesses, even if they are in tougher sectors or stressed sectors, they are getting capital from the capital markets. Right. So there is a great advantage which companies in the organized sector have, even if they are in the stressed sectors, because they have access to the capital. What I call is as the haves. Access to capital is the ones who are the haves. And therefore, the importance of capital markets as the key area for raising resources for the country and through the organized sector, therefore good governance, ability to scale, all those become important.
Right.
On the have side, again, I think there are two categories. One is where the government of India has stepped in and given an ECLGS program, that is a guarantee against which banks have lent money.
Yes.
What we have to be careful about is otherwise the smaller businesses, and I think both in urban and semi-urban areas, unsecured retail consumer financing is an area which is continuing to show some challenges, because all these categories really fall more into their inability to have access to secure jobs, right, or companies who are able to secure capital.
Right. So so that's the distinction. But let me ask you this. I know it's still early days out of the budget, but a lot of you at the time of the budget had said this is a growth-oriented budget and this is likely to kind of revive growth, stimulate investment. Again, with all the caveats that it's still very, very early days out of the budget. Are you seeing any indication of that?
I think there are a lot of positive signs and the winds of change are there. If you look at the car industry, you look at the tractor industry, you look at the construction equipment industry, and you look at various other sectors of the economy, they're showing pretty good signs of recovery. Therefore, I am hopeful about a recovery into next year. And therefore, if India, can it off a lower base grow at a 10% level GDP? My answer is yes. The thing which we need to work on today is not the growth for FY 21-22 alone, but how do we create sustainable growth in 22-23 and beyond? And that is something we need to focus on now. Right. And it is here that if we restructure the focus onto investment side, it should be the driver. And that's what the budget has done. It has changed the mindset from number one, it has made a very clear signal that it is pro-enterprise.
Right.
Two, it is very clear that it is pro-investments. And the belief is that if these two work, consumption will undoubtedly follow. And we may run higher fiscal deficits, which in turn will lead ultimately to higher growth, and which will enable us to moderate fiscal deficits. The one question which we need to watch out carefully is interest rates and global fuel prices.
Right.
Both these are things we need to watch out. The US 10-year bond has gone up from 0.9 to 1.4% in a matter of less than 1 month.
Yes.
Which has put some pressure on bond yields globally, including India. And most important for a sustainable investment recovery in India is a stable tax regime which the government has ensured.
Right.
And a stable, reasonable range interest rate regime.
You're right. About the US bonds, I think the markets didn't take that very well. But I wanted to ask you, though, about the stressed aspects of the economy, including what you call the sort of the haves, those who have access to capital. If you look at the areas which really took a hit, like services, restaurants, tourism, travel, airlines, a lot of them say that it's one thing for us to be able to access capital. We can access loans and so on, but we still have to service those loans. What many other countries did was to actually provide bailouts to those sectors. And some of those sectors have been hit so hard that they may not be just necessarily able to sustain themselves just through more borrowing. Do you believe that that's one area which did need government attention, that there could be, or is there still time to bail some of those sectors out?
Srinivasan, first let me give you an example of power of capital markets. A movie theater company was able to raise money twice from the capital markets as equity capital. We know how people go to cinema shows in the last 1 year. Despite that, capital markets have been liberal and have supported companies even in the theater industry to be able to capital. I think similarly, the right kind of airlines can also raise capital in the capital markets. So also hotels, I think they will get funding, including from private equity and real estate or funds. So they will all get funding provided they have the right construct. However, there are segments of the tourism and hospitality sector which may face challenges if they do not have access to capital. And this is where I much rather focus on access to capital, including ECLGS and restructuring, rather than think about this stress going away immediately. But 1 year from now, if COVID vaccines work, I think we will be singing a different